Hi, in this video I'm going to be explaining how to do the second part of the final assessment in which you have to write an opinion essay. So this will be the second last thing you have to do in the course. There's only one thing to do after this, and that thing that you have to do after this is going to be relatively short. So this is your last sort of major task to do. So we're almost there. Okay, so this is going to be kind of similar to some of the other opinion essays that you've written in this course. The topic this time is going to be writing an opinion essay based on your experience of life in Canada. So this is going to be a personal essay, which means you don't have to do that much research. In some cases, you might not need to do research at all, because the information that you're going to be drawing from is from your own life. Okay, so that still means you have to plan, right? You need to have an outline, you need to be as careful as you can with your organization, but you're not going to have to do a lot of heavy research. Okay, so this is going to be due in two parts. You're going to have the outline due on Thursday, June 11th, and I'm going to be giving you a little bit of feedback on the outline, and then your essay will be due on Tuesday, June 16th, and then that's it for this project. Okay, so like we said, the topic is going to be your personal experience of life in Canada. So the question that you'll have to answer in this essay is, has your life in Canada been good? So maybe the answer is yes, maybe the answer is no. Probably for most of you, and certainly for me, the answer is somewhat yes and somewhat no. But for the purposes of this essay, I'm going to ask you to pick a side. Overall, would you say more yes, or would you say more no? Because if you say kind of yes, kind of no, it's hard to really fit that kind of answer in any organized way into a 5-paragraph essay. You'd probably need to write a longer paper, and we're not going to cover that. So just pick either yes or pick no, and then give 3 reasons why yes, life in Canada has generally been good for me, or why no, life in Canada has generally not been good for me. So you need 3 reasons. I've given you suggestions of some things you can talk about. You don't need to talk about these things. You could pick your own ideas as well, but these are just some of the things you could discuss, right? So the people in Canada, generally the people you met, have they been generally nice to you or maybe not so nice to you? Have you liked the people that you've met here? Maybe yes, maybe no. So that's kind of the idea here. The culture here that we have here, including the fact that we have many different cultures in Canada. I think that's one of the good things about the country, but you could talk about the culture, your experiences at school, your experiences with food here, your experiences with family. So this could be a positive if you got a chance to meet relatives here, or if your family is doing well over here. But it could also be maybe a negative for some people, because your family might not be here. Your family might still be overseas and you might miss them. So that might be a reason why no, life here in Canada hasn't been as good for you as it could have been. The opportunity that you get here, or the opportunities that you have in life or for your future. You can talk about friends that you've made here, safety and security. So do you feel safe and secure in Canada? I can say from personal experiences, I've been to a few places where I didn't feel as safe and secure as I do in Canada. But I've been to other places where I felt perhaps even more secure or more safe. So that one might depend. The environment, sort of, you could think about the cleanliness or lack thereof inside cities. Is it a clean place? Or you can just think of the environment as a whole. You know, we have a lot of open spaces in Canada compared to some parts of the world. What do you think about that? Things to do or places to see. And what you think about that in your life. The weather, or I should probably say more the climate here. I don't know if you know a difference between these two words, but climate is sort of like the general pattern that you see here. So we tend to have cold winters, we tend to have warm summers. Weather is more just what you have day to day. So is it raining today? Is it sunny today? What is it like today? So probably you'll be talking about climate. English. Right, so this might be a challenge. Maybe this is one of the negative sort of aspects in Canada, that if you want to go certain places, you need to speak English to be understood, and that might be challenging. Sports, again, could be a positive or a negative. Perhaps it's harder to follow sports here if you like a particular team, particularly if you like a sport like football or something like that, which is not as prominent here. You might not have the sports that you want. But then again, we have some great teams. We have the NBA team even in Toronto, so maybe sports is a good thing. Or racism. So we definitely have racism here in Canada. So this is always going to be a bad thing, but perhaps if you feel in your personal experiences that you've come from a place that was perhaps more racist, maybe you see it as not quite as bad here. But on the other hand, maybe you have personal experiences with racism, so maybe racism in Canada makes life less pleasant for you, and this is one of the negative things that you can say about life here. So just some ideas. All right, so like we said, you're going to pick 3 of these for the body of a 5-paragraph opinion essay. So you're going to start with an introduction paragraph, write your 3 paragraphs, each 1 paragraph based on one of these ideas or something that's not on the list that you want to talk about, and then a concluding paragraph. So outline, you can just say yes or no. Has your life in Canada been good? 3 reasons why or why not. And I've set up a template for you for your introduction paragraph here. So if you just fill in the blanks, then you can you can complete your introduction paragraph. So I think what I'm going to do now is actually just go over a quick example of this that I've created, so you can see what I mean. Okay, so this is the example here. So you can see I filled in, I'm just doing this personally for myself as an example. So I said, yes, here are 3 things about the country that maybe have been good in my life. So when you fill this in, right, overall my life in Canada has been, I choose good, has been a good experience. There are 3 reasons why. So first, the climate has made life in Canada, I'm going to say interesting. I don't want to repeat good over and over again, so I'll use a different word, but I'm going to use a positive word because I said that I put yes as my answer here. So interesting for me. Second, the friends I've made have been amazing. So you'll notice you might have to change this as has or have, depending on what you choose. And then finally, my experience at school have helped to shape my view of Canada as a great place to live. So this is the introduction paragraph of your essay. Once you fill in these blanks, you'll notice I'm going to take you through some more of the outline here, but you could basically, when you start your essay, there you go. You'll notice that this is exactly what I have. I've just taken away the blanks and formatted it so that it's a full paragraph now. So your introduction paragraph, you don't have to really be creative there. You can just fill in the blanks. So the body paragraph is where the real challenge of this assignment is going to be, because this is where you have to talk about why you think Canada has been a good place for you to live or why not, and you have to give some details. So I've only filled out one of these sections because all 3 of them are the same format, just you choose 3 reasons. So first paragraph is 1 reason, so my first paragraph would be about the climate. My second paragraph, if I wrote it, would be about friends I made, and my third paragraph, if I wrote it, would be about my experiences at school. Okay, so as I said, I've only filled out 1 here just because they're all the same, so this should give you an idea of what they're like. So you have a topic sentence. So I didn't start with a transition word here. I didn't start with a first. And the reason why I did that is because I've used first in this paragraph here. So if I say first here and then first again here, it starts to sound a little bit mechanical, right? It starts to sound like a robot kind of wrote it. So I don't want to have too many of the same word repeating over and over again. Okay, so my topic sentence. While many people complain about it, the climate in Canada has actually made my life in the country more interesting. So again, I'm focusing on my life, and in your essay you will focus on yours. So you don't necessarily need to say, we're not necessarily saying that Canada is a good country or Canada is not a good country. We're saying about your life in Canada. What do you think? So I'm going to argue that the climate is good or is interesting because it has 4 distinct seasons. So there are several different reasons why 4 distinct seasons might make life in the country more interesting. I'm going to make 2 points here. I'm going to say that it allows you to do many fun activities relatively close to where you live, and also that each season has its own beauty. So details here, you're going to pick 2 points that support this topic sentence. So I'm saying that weather makes climate makes life in the country more interesting. So how does it make it more interesting? Well, it gives you more fun activities, and each season is beautiful. So it's more interesting because you have a variety in beauty and because you have many activities you can do. So you'll notice that each of these details supports this topic sentence as per usual. And then I can't just say having 4 distinct seasons allows me to do many fun activities, because I have to say what those activities are, right? I have to prove my point. So that's where your support comes in. So I'm going to say snowy winters are great for skiing and skating. Hot summer weather is great for going to the beach. And again, this is about my life, so I love going for hikes and jogs during the pleasant climate of spring and fall, where it's not too hot that you're just sweating and it's difficult to move, but it's not too cold that you have to dress warm. So you could just throw on a t-shirt and some shorts and go for a jog on a nice spring day, and you'll stay relatively cool. Okay, and then my support down here, each season has its own beauty, so we have the different seasons here. So winter, you get to see the country blanketed in beautiful white snow. I could talk about my own experiences going to see fall colors. And then as we've just kind of seen the transition now, you might have noticed that there were a lot of trees outside that have a lot of flowers and things on them a few weeks ago. So during the spring, you get a lot of color when the trees and some other plants are flowering. And then eventually those go away and you get leaves, and so you end up with a summer where you don't have as many of those colorful kind of trees around, but they're replaced with a bright green, so you have just beautiful green all around you in the summer. Okay, so I have a concluding sentence here where I kind of go back to this topic sentence. Here I said that the climate makes life in the country more interesting, so I repeat that here, as you can see, so some transition there. The climate in Canada makes life here interesting, and then I'm going to mention these kind of reasons in brief, as there's always a new season full of different activities, so I'm talking about this, and beautiful scenery, so I'm talking about this, just around the corner, right? So what I'm saying there is basically every couple of months you get to experience something different, and so the climate in the country is a positive. Okay, so that's my argument there. And then I said I'm going to skip over these because they're both kind of the same thing. In conclusion, very similar to the introduction, you just fill in the blanks and you have your concluding paragraph, and you could basically copy paste this to the bottom of your essay. So like we said, your introduction and your conclusion, if you fill in the blanks and copy paste them, then you've done your work for your essay, but you are going to have to take these body paragraphs in your outline and create actual body paragraphs with them. So if I was starting my essay, this is how I would start it. This is the introduction paragraph. So again, you've seen this before. And then I would take this and make that into a paragraph and put it underneath. That's my second paragraph. I do the same with my 2 other body paragraphs. So I now have 4 paragraphs. And then I copy paste my conclusion. That's my 5th paragraph. Marking scheme. Hopefully not too many surprises here. Knowledge mark for completeness of outline and essay. And do you have enough supporting details? Do you stay on topic? And is it obvious that you understand what a 5-paragraph essay is supposed to look like? So this is sort of like your basic level of understanding and completion. Thinking, so this is where you're getting into your arguments. Are your details well supported? So you'll notice the support for each detail. So here's my support proving that this is true, that I have a lot of activities to do because of the different seasons, so I list those activities. So how effective are your supporting details? Do they support your detail? And are they written persuasively? Can somebody read that and think, yeah, this person's got a good point? And the structure of your essay. So does it follow the sort of format where, as we said, your support supports the details, your detail supports the topic sentence, and then your topic sentence is one of 3 reasons that supports your general idea that life in Canada is good or not so good for you. Okay, communication. So this is going to deal with flow. So again, remember what I was saying about don't write too mechanically. And is it written in the correct style? So you can use I, you can use we or me in this because this is a personal opinion essay. Topic and concluding sentences flow well. And do they match up with what's in your paragraph? So is it organized in a way that the writing just flows, so I can naturally see where one sentence goes to another, and that's kind of going to tie in with this one. Is it easy to follow what you're trying to say? If everything is well structured, then it's going to be easy to follow your ideas. Application as per usual, spelling and grammar, present tense, or sometimes you might need to use different tenses, but do you use tense effectively, and do you follow the format of an opinion essay? So that's all we've got to say for now. Thank you for listening.